Marhaba and welcome to Culture Capsule. I'm Samar Karam, greeting you from Abu Dhabi, the capital of the UAE. Today's episode is sweet. The first time I met our guest, I felt as if I'd known her for a lifetime. The chemistry was so strong, and the conversation just flowed. So, wherever you are, at the office, at home, just grab your favorite drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy this genuine conversation because I believe it will be worth your time. Please welcome with me Maria Pruna, an entrepreneur, businesswoman, and a remarkable voice in the UAE. Hello, Maria, how are you?
Hello, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation and learning more about you, your life. So, why don't we start from the very first beginning? Tell me, where were you born? Where did you grow up? And we'll take it from there, please.
Sure. So I was born in Romania, and I spent most of my youth there. And then I decided to move to Belgium, where I spent 13 years. I spent that time mostly in corporate. Then I decided to start my business. It was a car wash business. And my current husband decided that, you know what, we should try a business as well. He was always in business. I was always in corporate. We were a match made in heaven because I knew how to embody the corporate environment and he knew how to sell, how to build a business on the side. For me, it
Right,
was the first time, ever thinking about that. He had a lot of experience in car wash, right? So he said, you know what, even if you don't know anything, I'll help you. That was the start, basically. So 4 years ago, we started this business. Then, we decided that we wanted something more. And that was basically the time we decided to look for a new home for ourselves. So basically, we decided to sell everything and move to the UAE.
why? Why you were in Europe? Everybody actually, sometimes do the opposite. I mean, they work here. Expats mainly take this place as a station, a stop, and then they make good money, then move to Europe. You did the opposite. You started the business in Europe and then decided to move to the UAE. Why was that?
For a number of reasons. First of all, we thought that we wanted to have multiple businesses. And in Europe, in Belgium, it was a bit harder for us from many perspectives, right? To scale up, scale fast. We had started investigating and researching different countries. And when we saw that in the UAE, the environment is so welcoming to new businesses and to entrepreneurs, not only to have one business, but different ones, and they get that actual support for someone who wants more from life, then we said, you know what, let's give it a try. Secondly, I became Muslim. So I wanted to be part of a country that allows me to express myself freely, to be part of a community. I felt lonely in Belgium. I felt nobody would understand me as good as a culture that is as welcoming as the one in the UAE, where I can feel that I have partners, I can make easily friends, I can build relationships, and people resonate with you because we can match at so many different levels. There was a compatibility that when I researched it online, it gave me the understanding that it's fine, it's good for me to step in because believe it or not, I left everything behind with the hope and a dream that this will work for me.
Right. So you felt that the experience of belonging here is much more aligned with what you become and what you want to experience. So tell me about your marriage. So I'm a big fan of your business and I follow you on LinkedIn. And I read, as I recall, that you had some difficulties with your marriage. What happened on that ground? Please share with the audience your story about getting married.
Sure. So, well, the fact was that I am from Romania. I have a Belgian nationality. My husband came, he has like dual nationality. He's from Pakistan. He had some issues because some of his papers were from Afghanistan as well. And when we went to the authorities to, get married legally, they said it's impossible. They were asking for multiple documents that they were left behind in his home country. They were impossible to retrieve. So we were in an impossibility of actually fulfilling our dream. So then we decided to start again researching,
Okay.
find a solution, and we managed to find an agency in Denmark who is supporting everyone who wants to get legally married. So we hopped on a plane, went there, got married, and finally we got our international certificate that allowed us actually to do multiple things in our lives, right? To set up the business here, especially in the UAE, we could prove that we are legally married. So, although we had a lot of obstacles in this journey and many doors were closed, we said, you
Yeah.
know what? There is a solution. We just need to find it. We just need to be very concentrated on the solution, not the problem.
So love found its way at the end. Congratulations, and we're happy to have you both here. You mentioned that you become Muslim, so I can see that you adopted a conservative dress code, despite the fact that UAE is open and doesn't require that. So you're not wearing an abaya, yet you're dressed conservative. Uh, why? Why did you do that?
Right. So, just like you said, I became Muslim 4 years ago. In Belgium, of course, there was no need for me to actually implement this. However, that was my dream. When I became Muslim, I lost my community, right? I lost my culture. So in the back of my mind, I was always thinking, I need a country that aligns with my new way of being. I need to be conservative, modest. I want to implement as much as I can from the new habits, values, beliefs, and make them my own. So when I came here, I didn't want to be just another European lady who comes and implements her habits. I wanted to be part of the culture. I wanted to blend in. I wanted to feel I belong. When someone looks at me, they can see me, oh, she's representing the society she's part of. I didn't come here to take from the society. I came here to give back. I want to be a noble representation of this society. So, of course, that translates in many ways: the way I speak, the way I behave, the way I do business, the way I dress. So, if you look at what I post on LinkedIn, you'll always see me, as you said, in a dress,
You have your own
modesty.
style, Maria. I mean, it's beautiful. I love it. Look at you. I mean, you have your own identity. You took a little bit of all the cultures that you know and you formed your own beautiful style.
Thank you. Thank
So, yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I have to admit it's really very nice. The colors, the style, the fabric, the way you design your dresses. It's really beautiful.
Thank you
Very
so
nice.
much. Thank
Very
you
nice.
so much. Actually, and I even thought about this, since I'm a woman in a car wash industry where normally you don't often see female representation, I said, you know what? Let's make this a symbol, a statement of the female voice in places where traditionally is not the norm. It was not the norm in Belgium, and I know this across the world. But for me, it became my way of symbolizing that we belong. We can create spaces for ourselves, and we will be taken seriously because we represent ourselves in a positive way. And the dress in the car wash became actually, as you said, the symbol of the car wash lady.
Let's stop here. The car wash lady. Maria, let's be a bit realistic here. You're a university graduate. You have master's degree. Weren't you a little bit, the car wash lady? It doesn't bother you to be called the car wash lady. I know it's a very attractive thing. What's the car wash lady? But tell me more about choosing specifically this title.
Sure. So this ties into, as I said, the businesses that I built and also to the visibility I managed to create for myself and for my brand online on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn was the only platform that I have been visible in since the beginning. So I landed in May 2025, And then I started posting consistently about my business. Now, one of my posts went super viral. And from that moment onwards, I decided that I needed to create a brand for myself, right? As you said, I may have tons of degrees, but people know you for one thing. And that was not my degrees, which I didn't find it was something, let's say, painful or something that would degrade my image. In fact,
Mm.
it enhanced my image because I became a symbol of someone who, even though she's not part of this car wash world, she
Yeah.
became the car wash, right? I became the statement that women can do whatever they want if they set their mind to it, right? For me, it was easier to choose a more fancy word, but I said, no, I want to demonstrate to people that if you want truly to be part of an environment, and here I'm talking about like women who decide unconventional paths, for example, I don't know, like pilots, astronauts, like people who normally don't have a clear path in that, they could choose that. Like I chose to be part of this traditional boring business type of industry, and it only benefited me because people realized that actually this embodies the strength of a woman to showcase her car wash, her business, and to be proud of it. For me, it became a statement that if you really want to achieve something, you need to kind of mirror your own business and show out with pride and show up with resilience that what, everything I'm doing is for my business, so you need to take me seriously because I'm very proud of representing it no matter where I am.
Yes, but I have to disagree with you. I don't think it's a boring business at all. Maria, you're managing an intensive manpower team, which will take me to, I don't think there is a dull moment there. You're a woman managing a team of technicians and laborers in the UAE. How does that work, and how you manage these people?
Oh, it's a challenge, right? Because
Okay.
coming from Europe, I work with specific people. Obviously, from there, moving here, I work with expats. So my workers in particular.
Tell me about the nationalities first of the team that you're managing.
Sure. So I have a wide variety. They are from like Sri Lanka, from Pakistan, from Nigeria. We have from many countries. We are like 20 in total and expanding. And then, of course, you realize that there's a cultural clash. No matter how much we try, we need to find a way to build relationships and connections with these people because we are all here and we need to become a community, right? Set
Right.
away the differences and find ways to work and make this car wash successful. This was a challenge at first, obviously. They never had a female boss, right? So I
Yes.
needed to find a way to constantly talk to them. We would have weekly check-ins. We would actually retrain them to the standards that I have learned in Belgium. I had to help them understand that, hey, we need to work together. If someone doesn't want to work, then the whole business will, flop. It's the reality of the thing. So then they slowly understood that actually my own car wash will become an opportunity for them, opportunity to grow their skills because I came up with a different mindset. I didn't say, hey, you are here to work for me and to send the money home. No, you are here to also learn and build a skill set that if tomorrow you leave my car wash and you go back home, potentially you can even open your own car wash there. So I
So
gave
does
them
it
this.
need a kind of culture training? Sorry to interrupt again.
Exactly, exactly. I kind of opened up their minds to more than their day job, right? Because they're working long hours. They sometimes, speak about work, but they never speak about their life after work, right?
Yes.
How are you going to use the skills you learn here in the UAE, the standards that you learn here, and use them back home, for example? Maybe they'll spend another 10 years here, who knows? But I gave them this possibility. And then they started taking things seriously and taking the training seriously. Some of them even said, hey, because you have the vans, I would like to take my driving license to start working on the vans because that gives me a different exposure to clients and to different cars and so on. So then I help them to actually get skilled, get their driving license, I support those who want to learn to, to go and pass their exams, and then, they give back on a monthly basis from their salary. So although I cannot give them like perks as in a corporate environment, I still take care of them and make sure that they change their mindset. When they leave from here, they say, yeah, this was a country of
Yes.
opportunities for me, and I
Yeah.
became someone else, someone better.
And they can grow. They can grow the more they know about the culture of the country, and the more that they understand the culture of the Emiratis. Especially also, it's not for the Emiratis, it's also for the big number of expats. It's just 10% only of the population here are Emiratis, and the rest are expats from all over the world. So, do you spend some personal time with them, or do you find this a kind of inconvenient? I mean, do you share with them in your meetings with them as their boss, their lady boss? Do you share with them a meal sometimes? You have iftar in Ramadan with them. Tell me a bit about your rituals and your protocols with your team.
Yes, so I implemented a couple of things. So every Friday after the Friday prayers, we have lunch together, because this is the time for us to sit down together as a team, for them to bond, and then for them to see that I'm not just the boss, I'm part of them, and I'm there to listen to what's happening to them. If they have a problem, or if there's some achievement, we can say something around like the numbers we have achieved during the week, or if someone has an amazing story to share. We try to build this sense of belonging and of having each other's back, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of teamwork, and if the team is not grounded and is not well connected, that will never work. Secondly, in Ramadan, we would definitely have iftar together. This was a lovely moment, because they were many in Belgium who were not doing this, obviously, but here we said, you know what, they need to learn as well how people celebrate here, how nice of a culture it is, the culture of giving.
Right. Right. So, Ramadan, how is your Arabic, Maria? Are you learning a bit of Arabic or not? Come on, you're living in the UAE.
I know, and I'm very honest. I have been so busy with two businesses, and now the third that I added, that I haven't had the
Oh,
chance. Yes.
that's an exclusive. I thought there were two only businesses. Now we're going to talk about three businesses today. All right. So back to Arabic lessons, and then we'll go to the other business.
Yes, yeah. So basically, my plan is when things slow down a little bit more in summertime, to get a private tutor to start picking up faster, because again, I don't have time to go to like lessons. I try to tailor something for myself, because I've noticed as well, since my car wash is in Sharjah, we have a lot of local, very loyal clients who love to chit chat. And then I feel so bad that I always have to speak in English, and I prefer to, again, connect more with them, make them feel like, oh, actually, I'm a person who wants to be part of the culture and wants to stay here for long and have a bigger impact. So this is on my to-do list. It's just that it was so busy that I didn't have the time yet.
All right. I'm going to host you again in that show, and we're going to do it next time in Arabic.
100%.
Okay. I have your word on that. We're recording.
Yes.
Okay. So, congratulations. I thought I'm going to talk about MashaAllah. I'm not giving you the evil eye. MashaAllah. So, I heard about your second business, but now there are a third business. So, first of all, before asking about what are these new businesses, let me ask you what was the drive? What was the goal? I mean, you started already your first business, you're doing well, you have customers, you have very good rating. Why now, since you're a very busy woman? And there are two actually questions. How is your husband also reacting to that? You're getting very busy, lady, now.
Okay. So when we started, we only had the physical car wash in Sharjah. So that was bought in last year in January. And then we added another one, another license in October last year, where we are allowed to operate vans, so mobile car wash vans that clean cars at the doorstep of our clients. And this one allows us to help out more clients. For example, in Sharjah, in Ajman, where people are busy, they want us to go to clean their cars at home. They can easily reach out via email or via WhatsApp or the website, and then we send a van that basically cleans properly, professionally their cars. This was very helpful because sometimes, as I said, people have big families, they don't have time to come to the car wash. So
Right.
it helps us to also meet this demand that has been growing exponentially. And again, we had to add the second similar business.
I
Now,
heard that we do boats too, Maria. Is that true?
yes, we had a
Wow.
client.
What's
Yes,
next? Airplanes?
why not? We are open. Like whoever needs us, we do detailing, we do proper cleaning. So yeah, as you said, there was a client who trusted us for a long time. So he had a boat, right, in Sharjah. So he said, "Can you clean it for me?" And we said, "100%." So it was super
Wow.
funny because we brought the van and then we parked the van next to the boat and we cleaned it properly. We even put some lights on top of the van to make sure that we have proper lighting because, of course, it became dark all of a sudden. And of course, he was super excited about this. And he said, "Oh, from now on, I'm going to make sure you have like consistent also boat demand during
Let
the
me
during
stop
the
you
month."
here regarding boats, because if you can clean boats, you know that we have dhows as well and the old-fashioned wooden boats. Would you stop there, or would you say, no, I actually have to learn because this is a different type of material and it's so can you tell a client no, or you would say, okay, I'll do it, I'll take the risk, or you say, no, 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 I cannot risk my reputation, I'm not going to clean this.
So I always make sure that the client is satisfied. If I see that we don't have that capability yet, we will learn it. So if the client says, for example, I need it in 1 week, and I know that I can learn that skill, that my team can learn and can master that skill, I say no problem. But if it's something that requires a lot of skill that we cannot learn in 1 week, I would say no, I'm sorry. I don't want to risk my reputation. I don't want to disappoint the client because
And
we
he's
are not.
also a client, so there is kind of trust, right, built. So he already have used your services before, and he say, "Can you try this boat? What can you do?" So there is also, build trust between you and the client, which give you the kind of comfort to learn and to go through what you need to learn to do the boat as well. Oh, that's
Exactly. Yeah. It was an easy entry level because we have already, as you said, managed to satisfy the client multiple times. And it was just an extension of our services. And again, since it was the first time, we also said we will take our time, we'll spend more time on it, more product to make sure that we do it right. And when we saw it went very well and the team were easy to learn, then we realized, for this specific type of boats, small boats, the modern ones that don't require a lot of like skill or specific products, we said, you know what, let's put it in our portfolio. And moving forward, we can also offer this. That's why we added it on the website as well.
and that client was Emirati, Maria.
Yes, yes, yes.
Of course, no doubt, because he already have that trust. So he trusted you. He trusted you, and that's for our audience who are expats and listening or watching us. Emiratis always, once you build the trust with them, they really can go to the second level with you and trust you with new things and new projects because they have they know you well enough. They build first a relationship with you, and then comes the trust. And once the trust is established, then they can trust you with more projects. Okay, so the second business, the third business, Maria, mashallah, بصي يا Maria.
Take it
How
slow, man.
I really have. I'm going to buy you a present, the hand of Fatima and the evil eye
Oh,
icons. I'm going
please.
to send it to you to Dubai tomorrow. Okay, Maria, let's go. Third
Yes.
business.
So what happened was I started posting on LinkedIn. Like that's the beginning of everything I have achieved so far. I decided to post because I realized this is the only place where my skill, learning and speaking in English and explaining stuff to people could become valuable. So I
Yes.
started posting 3 times a week, and it picked up. I started having clients inquiring in comments and in DMs. I started having collaborations with different companies who wanted us to clean their cars in bulk, like different garages, retailers, shop owners who wanted more. So we started seeing an increase in demand because of my posts. So this literally changed the game for me. Now, I was not convinced at first it was going to work. Honestly speaking, no, I never saw someone with a car wash posting on LinkedIn and be successful. And on top of that, I went to Dubai I radio show. I had been featured in podcasts. So then I realized, you know what? This is something that is valuable, and I wish more people would know about that. And on top of that, my own competitors, who are like the car wash owners, who are on the same street as us,
Mm.
see, how come you have so many clients that come to the car wash saying, "Hey, I know the owner of this place. She's the car wash lady." And then they said, "How come? What's happening with you? What's the trick?" And I said, "You know what? I'm posting on LinkedIn." And then they said, "You know what? I also want to learn." So slowly, I started having numerous inquiries about what I'm doing and how I'm building my brand, and people started asking me for advice. And of course, I was saying, okay, I'm giving all this advice for free. I'm posting for free. Why not turn it into a business? So then I decided that I can teach people how to post, because LinkedIn is not for everyone. It's a very hard platform to grow on.
Exactly. So why visibility matters on this platform?
It's very important. Like 70% of people first research you before buying from you. Most of the, like 90% of people need to be first connected with you emotionally before buying. And since LinkedIn is a B2B and B2C platform, basically you have a world of opportunity. If you're consistent about posting about your product, your service, and you engage with other companies, with other founders and owners, you get in a position of speaking to them. I have multiple coffee chats. Like every week I meet 3 4 new people who are curious about me, curious to learn about me and about my service. And then you realize that there's a big gap as well. Not
Exactly.
everyone, yeah,
Yeah.
not everyone knows how to post, and they start
Let's,
using
yes,
AI,
AI.
right?
And just let's take a moment and remind our listeners and our audience that we're bringing this in a culture program to understand that in every country also the culture of posting is different. It's a culture related to the presence of this nationality. Like for instance, here in the Gulf, Friday is the prayer day, while in other countries, North America and Europe, it's a full work day. So after a certain of time, you will not have an audience to see what you're posting. There should be certain times. So if you're an expat moving with your LinkedIn platform, there are completely different set of rules here in the Gulf area. And also, we are sharing this with Maria now because remind us again how big in is your audience now in 9 months? You went from
From kind of 0 100 200 connections to 10,200 in 9 months.
in 9 months in the UAE. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct. Yes.
Please carry on. So now our audience can realize why we are bringing this up in a culture show.
Exactly. And I think it's super unutilized, especially in the Gulf countries. So I managed to get 1,200,000 views. I
Yes.
have reached 420,000 professionals around the world. This is a big exposure, especially for the businesses in the Gulf area, in the UAE. And when I look at the posts and I look at the businesses that are growing so fast here, I'm talking here about like, startups and the ecosystem, it's booming. And I would wish to see more people proactively and proudly speaking about their achievements, about Dubai, about the UAE, because there's so much going on here, and I see nobody's posting about that. I proudly speak about my car wash, but imagine there's people who have $1 million businesses that are not in the habit of posting and, for of course, showing to people the real life of the UAE. the business life of UAE. Because in my opinion, people don't understand the culture, they don't understand the business culture of the region, the etiquette, the rules, just like you said, how you post, how you deal with businesses, how you interact. And LinkedIn could be a beautiful platform to also educate people
Educate,
around the
exactly.
world.
Like the other thing also, it's not a Friday prayer. Lots of people think that the UAE has the same weekend that the rest of the GCC countries. We moved from Friday to Saturday to Saturday and Sunday. So this is also something which is very important for newcomers. Lots of people who come to the region, they didn't even travel or left their countries, and they get surprised with lots of things. They don't even download the local calendar, which is very important because we have completely like we are soon celebrating the Bayram feast, and everything will be closed for a few days, while other business can be continuing opening. So back again to you. If I would ask you, Maria, for a favor, I want you to give my audience today three nuggets, three gifts, three tools that they would use for posting on LinkedIn in the UAE. What would you tell them to do, please?
Sure. So first of all, I will tell them to follow the local creators. There's beautiful creators that inform us about how to land a job in the UAE, how to set up properly a business, which is a very big topic here. There's locals who speak about the culture. So follow them, learn from them, and then understand how you need to post, because the format is very clearly explained there. Second of all, learn how to create hooks. The hooks are basically the first two lines that you see when you scroll through your LinkedIn feed. Why is this important? Because the hook is the only one that will stop someone from scrolling and click to see more, to see the content, the copy of your post, and also the picture. Thirdly, connect with people. Don't be a stranger. If you are in the UAE or you plan to come to the UAE, reach out to people, connect with them. You can have around 50 to 100 connection requests per week. Use them. And then DM that person, say, hello, I'm very interested about the UAE. Let's have a virtual coffee chat. That's how I built my business. That's how I learned about what people are doing here. And don't limit yourself to only, oh, this is my business. For example, if I'm in IT, I only speak to IT people. Speak to everyone, because you learn so much from being out there, from showing your face and showing that you are willing to connect with people, because UAE is a country of connection, and they start mostly online and then you take them offline, like I do most of the time.
Thank you very much. So, what about now an advice for expat business women who are coming to start a labor intensive business in the UAE? I'm an expat woman now. I'm coming like you, and you went through so many challenges here. So, what would you tell them, please?
First of all, I'll tell them to be very clear about what type of business they want to get. If it's a traditional business, come here first before moving and do the research. We started researching 3 months in advance before landing the car wash. We analyzed the market. We had the consultant who would help us decide on the place, on the value, on how we can build it up, whether there's possibility to, scale it up. So do your research properly, because what you have in, I know, Europe, America is not the same as here. There are different rules. Learn about them. Learn beforehand how to set up a business properly, how to set up a bank account. Learn about the small things that can help you, because when you are here, things pick up. It happened to me as well. My husband came here first. He spent a lot of time here, and we were taking decisions as we were going, and that helped us, that when we came here the business was successful. I see many people rushing into building a business, and then because it's not set up properly, or they don't know how to manage culturally, once they've landed the business, then immediately they decide, oh, this is not for me. They start selling, and that's not the way to go. So if you're a woman that really truly wants to build something meaningful here, investigate first. I'm more than happy to speak to anyone. I've helped already a lot of women who want to come here, explain to them how to navigate this journey that is for everyone, right? We've all been in this situation that we need support and information. So seek that information beforehand. I think this is the golden rule for every woman who wants to step into the UAE business world.
Thank you, Maria. Well said. Now, for our last question, it's always a question not asked by me to my guest. It's we call it the culture bridge. We build bridges between guests. So every guest come to the show, ask a question to the next guest, and the question, which is today for you, Maria, is from Rudy Schmidt, the CEO of Amana Hayat Institute in Abu Dhabi. And he's asking, if you could meet your future self 20 years from now, what would you ask her regarding important decision in your life that you've made or still have to make?
Wow, this is a very good question. So
Yeah.
I would ask her, have you already taken a risky decision in your business, meaning to go all in a business that you know for sure will bring you money, but at the same time it's in a phase like you are not sure whether it's going to succeed or not. And here I'm talking about investing in a startup, investing in a startup that we know for sure is going to have a big impact, for example AI startup, and then realizing that you don't see the results, you might not see the results in like 6 months from now, and then you need to take calculated risks, but at the same time you know for sure that the chances are there, but again things can change overnight. How would I navigate this? Because this is something I have been thinking about for a long time, to become an investor as well at some point, and this is something I want to see in 20 years from now. But the question and the challenge is whether I will actually be risky enough or not.
Yes, yes, yes. Well said. So, what about your question to my next guest?
Mhm. So my question for your next guest will be, um, to actually tell me, for me, what were the biggest things that they learned about the UAE culture when they stepped in here, when talking to locals. So here I'm talking about not the information that you see written or the information that is disseminated on media, but actual information from locals that made them understand better the culture and change their mindset around the culture.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much. And I really enjoyed that conversation. And I hope too that our audience and listeners have enjoyed this episode from Culture Capsule. Thank you, Maria Pruna, for being with us today. And thank you for our audience for their precious time.